speaking with legendary guitar player Ross the Boss Friedman. Of course, Ross, most people know you from the legendary band Manowar. I'd like to start off the interview by asking you how you got your famous nickname, Ross the Boss.
Well, it wasn't from music, it was from sports.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, at one point I thought I had some sports talent, but obviously not. But my friends used to see me, and then they said, well, pick Ross because he's the boss. And I like the way that sounded, so kind of like always lingered around me.
And so what sport were you into at the time?
Baseball.
Oh, okay. And so what was the point in your life when you made the decision that music was the direction you wanted to go in?
Well, I saw the Beatles. Everyone's talking about the Beatles now. But, 1964, obviously, I saw the Beatles on Ed Sullivan, and couldn't believe what I saw, how beautiful, how great they were. And, I started playing guitar when I was 13, and I took it from there.
And as far as learning the guitar, I was curious, did you take lessons, or would you consider yourself a self-taught player?
I took lessons for about a month, and I got better than my guitar teacher quickly. So I'm pretty much self-taught.
And of course, before you were in Manowar, I know you were also with the Dictators, which also featured Mark Mendoza.
Yep.
So how did you first hook up with them, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh, with the Dictators?
Yes.
Well, I formed the Dictators with Andy Chernoff and New Paltz in 1973, and we had a record contract by 1974, and management with the Blue Oyster Cult managers. We put out our first record in 1975, and I have a very, very lovely announcement to make about that record. Are you familiar with Uncut Magazine?
No, but I check it out. Let's hear your announcement.
Yeah, Uncut Magazine from England has voted The Dictators Go Girl Crazy as the #1 best American punk rock record of all time.
That's pretty amazing because I mean, the Dictators, haven't been around for a couple of years. So what do you contribute that to?
The Dictators actually play all the time. We play all the time, but we've never broken up.
Oh, really? Okay.
The point being is that record is, the longer as time goes by, people appreciate it more and more. So, as I said before, Uncut Magazine has said The Dictators Go Girl Crazy is the #1 American punk rock record. Over all the Stooges records, of all the Ramones records, of all Dead Kennedys, all that stuff, we're #1.
And that's pretty impressive. So let me. Obviously, when you first got into music, you were you into all kinds of music, or was punk your thing at the time?
Well, I had studied piano and violin as a child, so I was pretty much I was liking all sorts of stuff.
Oh, yeah, that's cool. And so
my main passion was blues.
Oh.
At the beginning, B.B. King being my lifelong idol on guitar. When I started playing at that time, the guitar was king in rock and roll. I mean, Cream, Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, Jimi Hendrix, Santana, all those great guys. I mean, the guitar was the centerpiece of the band. Fleetwood Mac, Peter Green. So I was heavily in. I mean, of course, it was it.
Yeah, I gotta say myself, I think a lot of people might be surprised to hear that. That you were influenced by the blues when a lot of people know you from the hardcore metal stuff.
You think of rock, you think of the punk and heavy metal with Manowar, but listen, I'm kind of like Tony Iommi because it was blues all the way for Sabbath. They were a blues band called Earth before they became Black Sabbath. So every great guitar player has to be vested in the blues, as far as I'm concerned.
And so, like you're saying, that the Dictators are kind of even play from time to time now. But talk a little bit about when you first got together with Manowar. How did that all come about?
All right. So I was after the Dictators. I was asked to join a French band called Shakin' Street. Okay. They lived in Paris, so I went to Paris, made a record with them. It came out in 1979. We found ourselves on tour, opening to Black Sabbath in England.
Wow.
With Ronnie Dio fronted Black Sabbath. Our managers, we had the same managers as Sabbath and Shakin' Street, so we got the tour. we found ourselves opening for Sabbath, my idols. I mean, my God, I was freaking out.
Wow.
And all of a sudden, then like the second show, I think we were in Manchester or Nottingham or whatever. Ronnie Dio comes up to me, and like, oh my goodness. Ronnie Dio comes to me, hi, you the boss? I say, yes. He goes, I'm a big fan of yours. I'm a big fan. I love the Dictators. I mean, I know all about New York scene and punk scene and everybody. You're a really great guitar player. Oh, by the way, I think you should meet somebody on our crew. His name is Joey, and he plays bass.
Wow.
Yeah. So I go, okay, man, great. I said, I'd love to. Sure. Because I'm like that kind of a guy. I'm a friendly fellow. I'm always into jamming and stuff like that. So I just went and saw Joey out. And we started talking about music. Of course, we're like jacked up because Black Sabbath, oh my God, our idols were there. And we're talking about music, and we became fast friends. And that very moment, we took, when Sabbath went on stage, we went into their dressing rooms and we played on their warm-up amps.
Wow, that's.
And we started jamming, and it was like, wow, we definitely had a chemistry together. And so we started plotting out Manowar. This band was going to be the loudest. This band was going to be the heaviest. This band was going to be the fastest. This band was going to, each guy in the band was going to be a dynamo.
Wow. Yeah, that's.
So we had
wow.
Joey and me, and then we got, Joey knew Eric Adams from his town, and we just got Donnie. So, blah, 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 blah. I got a record deal with EMI, and voila, Battle Hymns.
Yeah, and that's where everybody, of course, really got to know the name Ross the Boss. Now, Ross, I was curious at the point when you decided to leave Manowar, was it?
Let me straighten that one out.
Uh-huh.
I did not. I hate to say it. I did not leave the band. It was, it was kind of like I was asked to leave. I know it sounds bad, but that's just the reality of the situation.
Okay, and then of course I know a couple of years ago I talked to you and you had a band called Ross the Boss. Is that a project you still have going on?
Yes, actually we're on hiatus now. We do have a nice record deal with AFM in Germany. We put out 2 records in 2006, New Metal Leader, and 2008, New Metal Leader, and 2010, Hailstone. Both albums did really pretty good. I'm really proud of those 2 records. The boys are great, Patrick, Monty, and Costin, and we're going to pick it up soon.
Okay.
I'm very busy.
And of course,
I gotta tell you.
yeah, and then of course the other project you're currently involved in is, of course, Death Dealer. Now, I was talking with the other guitar player, Stu Marshall, who was, I guess, kind of a mastermind behind the project, and he was telling.
There's 3 masterminds in Death Dealer.
Okay. Well, let's hear about that. But I guess he was telling me that one of the first albums he bought was a Manowar album, and he says, I was always such a fan of Ross's guitar playing, and he said that it's just so great to be able to play with somebody I grew up listening to, and was just so influenced by his playing. So
Stu and I do have a very great respect for each other. I mean, the way the band sounds. I mean, if you never heard Death Dealer, we're two totally different guitar players, but it really works. So I guess you want to know what's going on, right?
Yeah. So what's currently going on? I know you guys have put out one album, and I think you're currently working on a new one.
Okay. So in March, I've been asked to join the Metal All-Star Tour.
Okay. Yeah. Wow.
Okay. Metal All-Stars is Zach Wilde, Phil Anselmo, Joey Belladonna, Udo, Nick Menza from Megadeth, Kronos from Venom, Vince Neil's going to do some of the shows.
Wow.
And me, of course, me, Ross the Boss. And we're going to do 11 shows in Eastern Europe, and we're on a South American tour in May. And I can safely say that Death Dealer is the opening act.
Oh, wow. So you're going to be doing a lot of performing that night.
So I'm going to be opening for myself.
Wow, that's cool. And so how did that tour come together? That sounds like it was just a matter of you guys, putting the tour together, a bunch of, guys that knew each other, or somebody come to you guys?
What do you mean? So the All-Stars?
Yeah, I mean, how did that all start?
Well, it's the brainchild of Gabe Reed, the promoter, who did Rock and Metal All-Stars last year.
Oh, okay.
Gene Simmons and some of the guys from Motley Crue. Sebastian Bach.
Oh.
So he wanted to do something with the metal genre. So that's how it worked. So he put this together. He saw me play at the Roxy with Death Dealer in July last summer and loved it and asked me to play. And then we worked on Death Dealer opening.
And so as far as the set list for these shows, I guess are you guys all going to play a selection of songs from throughout the?
Yeah, that's the plan. We're going to do some Black Label Society, some Manowar, some Accept, some Anthrax.
Oh, cool.
Everyone's gonna have a little hand in everything. So I think it's really going to be very cool, and I'm looking forward to it.
And so let's talk.
I have a lot of work to do, believe me.
And so are these shows going to be taking place before you finish up the new Death Dealer album?
We're going to have most of the record done before the tour starts, hopefully.
And as far as the recording goes, are you guys like all in the studio together? Or are you guys just sending stuff back and forth to each other?
We're sending stuff back and forth because Stu lives in Australia.
Okay.
I'm in New York, and the rest of the band are in California.
Okay. And so I know you guys did a little tour last year of the States. How did that go for you?
Oh, that was great. We really loved that. That was really fantastic. As I said, we played the Roxy, we played in Mexico, we played in a bunch of places. I had a couple of shows, yeah. So we're really looking towards this big stage and the festivals.
And so, for people that look as Death Dealers like an all-star supergroup, what do you think about that?
Well, on paper, I guess you could call it. I mean, everyone's had projects. We don't look at it like that. We just look at it as a band. And when we're together, there's none of that. Oh, you did this, I did this. We don't, none of that.
And so, as far as the writing for, since you guys are all in different parts of the world and you're sending stuff back and forth, how do you guys go about writing this stuff? I mean, does each member kind of write stuff and send it in?
Well, we send demos, of course, back and forth to each other. We worked on a lot of stuff when we were together in the summer, and we just continue to write.
And so let me
enjoy ourselves.
So let me ask you, when you got together with the other guys,
What's that, sir?
when you got together with the other guys in the band, I was curious, like Sean Peck, were you aware of who he was and like his band Cage and what he'd done?
Yes, I knew Cage and Empires of Eden. Mike has been in Lizzie Borden and plays with Halford.
Yeah, and so is it hard to for as far as Death Dealer, guys make a schedule around all your other busy projects?
No, well, listen, everybody has to put, we're all professional. Everybody has to put, has to really, schedule their years correctly.
And so as far as, the guitar playing, are you considered the lead player? And, how do you guys go about splitting the guitar parts, as far as who plays?
We decide that, this would be better for you. And if you do this one, I said, Sue, you got to do that. And then Sue goes to me, you got to do that. And like the nylon string stuff, Ross does that. And then, who knows? Yeah. Believe me, if someone can do it better, that's who gets to do it. I mean, because there's no ego like that. I mean, the band, whatever's best for the band and whatever's best for the song, that's what gets done.
And so I imagine, like for example, Ross, you write a lot of the music, but do you guys help with the lyrics, or do you let Sean handle all the lyrics?
Sean is the lyricist of the band.
Okay, and like I was curious, like when you write a song, how do you know, like do you know right away if like, oh, this is a song that sounds like Death Dealer, or this is a song for Ross the Boss Band?
Yeah, well, you know what, you pretty much know it. You have that vibe. Intuition really runs the band. That's been running me for forever, so I feel it. If the song is a RTB song or a Death Dealer song, we know.
And as far as being in a band where you're working with other guys, like you have your own Ross the Boss Band. Well, I was saying, what's it like being in a band where you're collaborating with other guys? Like in Ross the Boss.
Up now again. Oh my God.
Okay, what's it like to be in a band where you're playing with these other guys? Where you're all collaborating, as opposed to being the guy like in Ross the Boss that makes all the decisions and everything's kind
I like it better.
Yeah.
Well, in my Ross the Boss band, it's pretty much a democracy too. So I'm never like the guy that I was in the band with in the '80s.
Okay. And so So are you currently involved in any other thing? You want to let us know? Or do you have anything else going on currently?
Well, that's about it. I mean, as busy as I could get. I mean, new Dictator stuff, new Death Dealer, Metal All Stars. I mean, that's about it for now.
And then the last thing I guess I'd like to ask you, a lot of people are writing books these days. Is that something you'd ever be interested in doing? Writing your life story?
Actually, someone asked me if I could write a book, and I'm mulling it. Yeah, I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, 'cause I mean, you had a pretty lengthy career, and so I think you'd have a lot of great stories to tell.
I definitely have a lot of stories. Yeah.
And so
I definitely do have some stories.
So like when Death Dealer does shows, I was curious too. Do you guys you strictly stick to the Death Dealer material? Or do you ever throw in like a Manowar song or a Cage song?
Well, what do you mean? The songs that we write?
No, as far as like when you guys perform live, like would you ever?
Oh, the live stuff.
Yeah.
Oh no, we're gonna do the first record.
Okay, and so as far as the next record goes, I was curious. Were you guys written specifically for this album, or did you have anything left over from the first album?
We had a couple of tracks from the last album, but pretty much we're not using them. Pretty much this is all new stuff. And come on, the last record came out in June.
Yeah. I mean,
it's not like it's that old.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. It seems like you guys are, getting the stuff out there pretty fast. Like you're saying, the last album just came out. And so, like, what kind of response did you get from the first album? I mean, a lot of people like.
Amazing response.
And
amazing response.
And I was reading some.
Most 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10. I mean, we have about 50 of those reviews. I mean, it's been tremendous. The fans really responded the best.
And as far as players that you like listening to these days, are there any guitar players that you really enjoy listening to?
Hold on a second. Can you wait 1 second?
Sure.
Give me a second.
Sure.
Want a receipt?
Yeah.
Is that a Visa? Thank you so much. Did you have a good time?
Yeah, it was okay.
Was it good?
Yeah, it's not really great.
What was it?
Every time I call him, swing it into the net.
You didn't say it right. You should have called me. I would
Well,
have
I did. We moved it all the way over.
Which way?
We moved it. You saw? We moved it all the way over. When I swing, back.
Hold on. Can I call you back?
Sure. No problem.